And every day that you go into the landscape and seek from it the different qualities and characters of those elements, the landscape will give it to you every day. And that's the gift of the landscape to us, and that's our charter as artists born into this world to seek and connect with those qualities and capture them in artworks so that they live. They live in that two-dimensional reality, which is a reflection entirely of your vision, and your vision captured there will last a long, long time. It's great. Paintings last hundreds of years. It's a fabulous feeling to have your vision harnessed and living beyond your own years. And I wonder if you're asking yourselves now, how do you capture the different characters of those elements? How do you harness the spirit of each of those elements and have it live in a painting all that time? Well, it's not difficult. The most important thing in this general information instruction that I'm sharing with you is to remember that you need to at all times focus on the spiritual quality of each of those elements of the landscape, and then through the techniques that we're going to show you very shortly, you will see so simply how the techniques give birth, give rise to the character and the qualities that you want to express. Because those techniques are naturally given to combining with your skills, your feeling for the landscape to create that exact effect. And another thing too, which inspires me greatly, and I'm sure it will yourself in your painting career, every time you paint a picture, is that the use of those techniques creates and captures for us what we call the illusion of detail. Let me explain that. Imagine if you had to paint every blade of grass in a paddock on your canvas, singularly, one after the other after the other. Would that not be the most boring and tiresome and tedious task? Some people do it, you know. And because we can't capture the exact detail of what exists in nature that way, we always feel if we were to follow that course of action to try and mimic through creation of what exists naturally in the paintbrush, in other words, to try and capture each blade of grass with a paintbrush, if we were to try and do that, we feel terribly dissatisfied with our work. Instead, having full authorship over our canvas board, we are masters of that landscape and we can do whatever we like, which means that we can, using those techniques with the deft stroke of a rag or a knife or a brush, as you'll soon see, create the illusion of all of those blades of grass just in one go. It's a very, very powerful thing to experience. And it's the same for other elements of the landscape too, where the techniques allow you to capture and harness the particular character of those elements. For instance, here we are under the sea, and Jeanette is showing you how that seaweed is wisping and washing under the water. Each of those strands of seaweed have been captured with one single stroke of the brush across the paint surface. The techniques really are that expressive and so much fun. And you may have picked up something else there in those images. Let me just show it to you again. As we zoom in now, if you haven't painted before, you may see something here which is very interesting to you, and that is that the paint surface is built up with layers of paint. We don't just use one application. Now, as different layers then are placed on top of each other, it is that facility which creates the illusion of detail of which we speak. And there are other advantages too of building up the paint surface with different layers. It enables us also to capture an incredible luminescence, a quality of light in our paintings which otherwise we cannot get. And how that works very simply, and you'll learn all this, is that light hits one layer of paint, bounces off it and picks up the next layer of paint as it comes back out, and the next one, and the eye, the viewer, sees the end result, which is a fabulous sense of depth in the painting, as though the light surface was inside the painting. Sounds fantastic. It's very simple to do. We'll show you how it's done. And also, as we apply the technique, it enables us to capture another quality in art which is otherwise unattainable, and that is the facility to capture movement. If you're painting a stream that winds its way through the landscape, you can harness whatever degree of movement you wish, so that if you like, you can slam it down a big waterfall and have it gush, such that people will almost hear the thunder of it as it drops. And that ability to capture movement has been something which artists right through history have been trying very hard to achieve. And it's the same with light, the qualities of light we just mentioned. To be able to capture those has been something which artists right through history have been trying hard to achieve. And there's another quality too, which different applications of paint and the techniques which we're showing you soon allow you to obtain, allow you to capture. And that is a certain sense, a certain mood in your painting. The ability to harness the way an image might feel, whether it's gentle or reflective or even windy. These things can be achieved, these feelings, this mood, this sense of ambience can be captured and expressed in art. And there in our discussion we have laid the foundation for your successful painting. You can and you will achieve successful painting quickly. One of the things that you have to look forward to in the entirety of your painting career is that each day you will gain more knowledge, and you will come to understand the landscape more strongly and more deeply. And each day in your painting career, you will grow as a creative artist. And perhaps that's one of the great gifts that painting gives us, is the ability to grow and understand more about the great world in which we live. Another point too, which I might just add to our discussion at this point in time, something for you to consider in your art career, is that the ability for you as an artist to harness those spirit qualities of each element of the landscape and to apply the techniques that give rise to their expression forms the basis for your successful commercial sales of your work as well. And that commercial success too will increase as you grow in that understanding and as you become more proficient in the use of those techniques. And all of those points mentioned in our beautiful discussion just now show you and share with you the magnificent quality of what it is to be involved in art, and the value, long-term value, and the day-to-day value of the art career. And I hope also that it highlights what is, to me, I think, one of the most important points, and that is that at all times we are students of creativity.